Can you hear me now?
Yes. So anyway, so I want to thank you. We're going to start all over, guys. I'm sorry about that. But so here we are. Let me just turn my volume off on my.
This is take two.
This is okay. This is take two. Welcome everybody to TGIF of Real Estate Talk. Thank God it's finale. Sheldon Neal here. As I said, we've had Chris Smith, Jimmy Mack, and Katie Lance, Mike McAllowitz. We got Tom Ferry coming on in a month. We got other people. Great agents have been on. Pete Kopech, Oscar Nunez. I can go on and on. But I'm lucky today to have the great top agent from RE/MAX and Oradell, Sheldon Neal. Sheldon, thank you for coming and welcome. And as I said, this is take two. So it's almost like, okay, we said this already, deja vu all over again.
Not a problem. I'm not afraid to talk, so I can repeat what I said before. And again, I will say that I'm happy to have turned down Jimmy Fallon to be with you today. So this is a prime interview for me.
Great. So hopefully everybody can hear us. We're going to have everybody comment again and see if they can hear us. So I hear us, so I think it's okay. Excellent. So I'm going to turn my volume off on my phone. I was not texting anyone. I was checking my phone, make sure it all worked. Anyway, tell us, you're a top agent now doing more than 100 transactions a year. I was going to say a month, which would almost be correct, but you do so well. How did you get started in this business? Because everybody, when they see a top agent like you, number one, they think you're unapproachable, which you're not. And number two, they think, well, he's already got everything. He doesn't, I can't watch him because he doesn't. How did you get started?
So again, I think the main thing to understand that if you're starting out, this is a long game. I don't believe that there is a magic overnight pill for success. I started on the bottom rung of the ladder and out of the gates decided I was just going to out hustle everybody. I was going to do whatever it took to be successful and to provide the highest level of value to my clients. And along the way, I was very blessed to be given a helping hand up by other agents, some other vendors, some very influential people who were kind enough to share their thoughts and advice with me. And I took it all on board and I was never too high on myself. And as I climbed the ladder, I just kept learning and kept hustling. And now that I've achieved a pretty good level of success, I'm happy to do the same. So I'm always happy and willing to extend my hand back to anybody that could use a bit of advice or wants to brainstorm or bounce anything around. But it was really a hustle and an understanding that this was a long game. And over the years, keep moving forward. Keep building your business and your brand and your reputation, and good things will come at the end of the day.
You use the word, and I always like to hit people back with when they say the word hustle, because I see a lot of young people coming into the business, or new people, or it doesn't have to have anything to do with age, but it's hustle, grind. Tell us about that when you started. I mean, was it the grind? Was it the 20-hour a day thing? Was it the 7 days a week, all that thing? Was it like that?
Well, it's still like that, I'll be honest. And I'm 13 years in the business. And if you're not willing to do that, you're going to leave opportunities on the table. We are in a business where we do have the ability to control our hours a little bit. And I believe that you do need to find that balance. And that's always been a challenge for me. However, it is something that you start out doing the same thing. As a new agent, you want to go to as many broker tours as you can. Try and network with the brokers, get to learn them. It's quite likely that you're going to run into them during the course of your journey. So why not build a relationship with them so you can have an open and honest, transparent communication with them, not just with your clients. So for me, it was get to as many open houses, get to as many broker open houses, talk to other agents in your office, maybe shadow or tail them a little bit. But yeah, it was putting in the time and then following up with certainly the people that to let them know what you're doing and share what you're doing and find avenues that fit your personality.
Okay, so we talked about, working hard and going to all this stuff and really nose to the grindstone, so to speak. But let's talk about prospecting and generating your business. Now, I did a couple of promos for this, and I said, Sheldon Neal never did a cold call, never knocked on a door. Tell us about the generation of the business that you did.
Yep, I'll be very happy to share that because this is one of the backbones of what I try to tell people if they really want to be successful at whatever level they're in real estate. when I started, I went to all of the free webinars, seminars that were out there. Some of them were online, some of them were in hotel reception rooms, etc., where they advertise this free webinar seminar, and at the end of the day, they want to sell you a bunch of their sales paraphernalia, which is perfectly fine. And they ranged from FISBO your way to the top, call expired the way to success, luxury list to real estate rock stardom. And out of all of those, about 10 deep, one of the presenters came on and said, hey, do you never want to call a for sale by owner? If so, then raise your hand. So we all sort of sheepishly raised our hand. And then he said, well, good, put your hands down. Do you want to never call an expired listing and be super successful? And we sort of looked around and sort of said, yeah, okay. He said, well, then pay attention for the next 2 hours. I'm going to tell you how to do that and be super successful without having to cold call, knock on doors, or do any of those traditional things. And that resonated with me. And his whole angle was to make sure that you cultivated your sphere and the people that know you, past clients, etc. And he gave us some steps along the way of how to set that up. And I took that on board because that matched my personality very, very well. It's not to say that you can't make an incredible career out of being a for sale by owner conversion expert, right, and expireds as well, because there's plenty of people that I admire as agents who do extremely well doing that. It just wasn't the lane that resonated with me the most. So I took that right out of the gates and made that my focus. And all my goal is to share myself and my value with as many people as I can. And those that know me already are already ahead of the game. They know me, they know me from my Facebook page. They know me from my social circle, etc. And that's what I try to cultivate.
You see, that's just so important, because one of the things as a broker owner I was for 21 years, I always pushed sphere of influence. I'll never forget when I was working on it and doing like 20 years ago, I guess, I had an agent that said that I overheard her ask another agent, what's Dave talking about with this sphere of influence? I thought that was hilarious. And it's a story I've told for years, but I thought it was funny because a lot of agents don't get the help that they need on your sphere of influence and how to do it from, the people that help them when they first get into the business. I've got, I base all of my coaching and training and client acquisition stuff all based on your sphere of influence. Matter of fact, I have a program called the SOI method. There's a shameless plug for myself, but anyway, that's okay. And it's really, really like the base, the foundation. People talk about foundations, but nobody ever talks about the footing, which is what the foundation sits on. And that's what your business is. Would you agree with that?
I do, of course. Yeah. In fact, look, I do believe that the trick to individual success, because I can't be you, you can't be me, and you shouldn't. You should be you, but you should find what allows you to be the best you to clients as quickly as possible. And what I mean by that is there are 20 different lanes in real estate, and you just have to find your lane. And you can't be a jack of all real estate. It is impossible, in my opinion. I specifically don't do any commercial real estate, super high end, $5 million, $10 million residential even, because that's not my lane. That's not where I'm most comfortable, and it's not where I'm the expert. I get a lot of commercial recommendations, but I don't take them. I refer them to somebody else who I believe is a better expert right to help that client than me. So the quicker you can find your lane, even if it is for sale by owner calling, expireds, door knocking, whatever it is, the quicker you can find that lane that matches your personality and what makes you excited to get up every day, that's when you start building towards a successful journey in real estate.
You really hit the nail on the head with something that is so important that most agents, and I'm going to say most agents, and I don't care if anybody who disagrees with me or not, if you work with everyone, you work with no one. You have to really fine tune what your niche is going to be. One of the processes that I go through that I've been taught by several coaches that I've worked with is that, who is your customer? You have to really know who your customer is. And when you really do the exercise, you find out that customer is you're looking in the mirror at them, right? Yeah, and it's who you are. It's the kind of person that you are that you want to do it. So that's such a great thing to say. So, your style is a little bit different than a lot of people. And tell us about that. Tell us about some different things that you've done in your business and why.
Well, the why is because I believe that people can enjoy the journey through real estate, and that it's not enjoyed as much as it could be. The challenge is, how do you make it enjoyable and also successful to get somebody to the closing table on what would be largely the biggest purchase or financial transaction of somebody's life. So with that, obviously you have to take it seriously, but it doesn't always mean that it has to be a nightmare. And if you understand that from the beginning and you have a style which allows you to make it an enjoyable journey, then you have something of value to offer a client as a real estate agent. And that's something that I'm very comfortable with. The majority of people that go through the journey with me, along the way, stop and they're pumped up and they're excited about it, and they're motivated to get to the closing table. Of course, there's always challenges, but you can enjoy that journey along the way if you understand that the less stress that we can create, the more ways that we can take a deep breath and not get so wound up about it, is better for your stress levels and better for the enjoyment from start to finish. And I try to do that by being very even keeled, not getting too high, not getting too low. When challenges occur, not flying off the handle like a lot of agents do. And we have to sort of try and bring them down a little bit. And along the way, trying to not miss too many opportunities to make them smile. And that is a big portion of what I do. I'm very transparent. People that know me know that you get me, you get all of me, you even get my family involved. Anybody that I know could end up on my Facebook page, being transparent and understanding that they're a part of my life. And I'm very clear about that. I'm also a good listener. I truly listen to what my clients want. So when you have that type of mentality that you're really in it for them and you're customizing it to them, then you can make it more enjoyable for them. If they say that they prefer a specific type of communication, don't force a different type of communication down them, a text message or a phone call or emails, whichever they prefer. Make sure you're doing the things that are tailored to your client. And I try to do that in a light, humorous, enjoyable fashion. And sometimes I even, take it to a quirkier standpoint, certainly through my Facebook page. Those of you who know my Facebook page know that I do push the envelope a little bit in terms of goofy entertainment, but that just matches my style. It fits my personality. It's not for everybody, but for me, if I can tie in real estate value and some real estate information and insights in with a little bit of entertainment, then I'm doing some things right.
So let me ask you a question since you brought it up. Do sometimes people think you're being too goofy and to that respect? Because we talked about this before.
Yeah. Well, the answer to that would be yes, if I was only closing 2 deals a year. But the fact that I've been now closing over 100 deals a year for the last several years shows that not only can I make it an enjoyable journey, but I can also get kick-ass results without being just a joke. If I was just spending time making goofy videos and closing 2 or 3 deals a year, then people would have the tendency to say, well, that's very nice, Sheldon. You made me smile, but why don't you spend more of your time learning to be a better real estate agent than just goofing off being a clown on Facebook? So the nice part is I believe that I've found that nice blend and balance to be able to incorporate the kind of quirkiness into a successful and results-driven real estate journey.
So you've done this mostly on your personal Facebook page, correct?
Yes.
And a lot of people say, well, you know what? I don't want to put myself out there and I don't want to, do this. And, oh, I need a business page. Okay. Well, what's your thoughts on, because you do everything that I've seen. I don't think I've seen your business page. I've never looked for it, but I never had to. But when I see your stuff, I mean, you've got personal stuff. You've got your family. I mean, I'm sure, you'll probably always be haunted with that picture of your wife sleeping on the plane.
That might be one of the regrettable moments, but it is what it is. It's out there. My wife, gave me a smack around.
And the thing that really impressed me about that is it's something I would have done.
Yeah, there you go.
So, but let me ask you about that. I mean, you put both together. What would be your suggestion or your recommendation to a newer agent or an agent out there that has trouble with social media because of their personal, that they really don't want to get personal, or they don't want to put business, what would be your suggestion on how to handle the Facebook personal page?
Very simple. Don't do something that is completely out of your comfort level. And this is against what a lot of people, a lot of coaches push on people, but don't at least start with things that are that far out of your comfort level just because you see a Facebook page like yours or mine where we are sharing those things. You don't have to be me. You don't have to be somebody else. You just have to find what makes you the best version of you for a client. And if that is just you in a local, interviewing a local store owner and not showing any part of your family, then that's the angle that you take. If it's you just walking through a park and talking about the size of this local park in a neighborhood, not even having any communication with another human being, if that's what's your comfort level, then try there, start there. You don't even have to be video to start. You can just take pictures of these things. But the more that you can get out in this fabulous opportunity of a social empire, then the more you will be looked at as somebody that people should trust and be able to call if they're interested in maybe buying or selling a house in that area.
I hope everyone is listening to all these simple, singular educational moments given here, talking about video, talking about images on your Facebook page, the social media empire, which is just like, I mean, what you're talking about, Sheldon, is just so much magic in it. And the reason I say that is you've done everything but say what I'm about to say. I had a conversation online and offline today with a friend of mine talking about media, and that instead of an agent, we're actually a media company. And you've really taken that without saying it, without trying to be that. You've actually turned yourself into that marketing media company that is personable and entertaining. And what was the thing you said earlier today that before we went on the air? Entertaining value?
Yeah, I mean, there's a huge value in entertaining communication. And that's where I'm super comfortable. I mean, honestly, I'm very humbled by the fact that on a weekly basis, I get several people come up to me if I run into them or text me or have a communication that says, look, I really enjoy following your journey on social media because you've made it an entertaining way for us to get behind you and rally for you and your family. It's such a, I'm fortunate to have a family that shares my confidence in front of a camera and in social media. My wife, especially, and even my kids, especially my younger kid, if he's not on Broadway in the next year or two, then I think that'll be a shame. But the confidence level, of participating in social media is affluent in my family. So with that in mind, it's very easy for me to just be open and transparent and share what's going on in my life and do it in a sort of an entertaining fashion, which I'm very humbled to share that people seem to enjoy and they like to rally behind me. And subsequently, they're very happy to refer me if they run into somebody that wants to buy or sell a house. And although that's not the primary goal, I actually enjoy the sharing of some of the more entertaining factors of my social media pages. It is a great way to conduct business.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, you talking about your social media presence and your video and your entertaining value is a way of communication. But I think you also just said, just by what you're doing, you may get business that way, huh?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. The reason is that people want to do business with people that they believe they know. They believe that they have a really good feel for the type of person that they are. Tech advances aside, this is still a belly-to-belly business, and mano a mano is the name of the game at the end of the day, which is as long as you are going to be a physical representative for them and help them with this journey through the biggest purchase or sale of their life, they have to trust you and they have to believe that they know you well enough to share some of these in-depth pieces of information about their family, what their family's needs are, so that you can be of optimum help to them in then getting the next roof over their head and the house that they're coming home to 365 days for the next however many years. So it is critically important that they believe they know who you are. So the more that I share who I am, they're either going to say, I like that guy, I get a really good feel for him, which thankfully happens quite a lot, or they're going to say, that's not a good personality match for me. He's entertaining, but he's not my agent. And I'm okay with both. The good news for me is that the majority of people say, I get a good feel for this guy. I think he's got a good work ethic, but you know what? I kind of like his personality as well. If I need help, I'm going to call him.
And I think one of the things also that it brings out, I mean, everybody talks, there's all these buzzwords, and we talked about hustle and we talked about all these things. And the other one is being authentic. And I don't think there's anybody more authentic than you. I try to come from my own authentic self and from abundance and stuff. You know, would you agree that authenticity is extremely important?
It's essential, and it's a backbone of my business. Again, I'm not perfect by any manner of speaking, but you get me and you get me all in. And if there are mistakes made or there's additional information that needs to be obtained, then you get me all in trying to get that type of information and being authentic about it and not being plastic and fake about it and not trying to be somebody that you're not trying to be too salesy is critical, certainly from my business. But I got to believe that is a staple of anybody's personality if you're trying to be a trusted real estate representative for somebody. Otherwise, you come across as being that typical salesy guy that you know, in your polyester suit and always that fake smile with the tint on your teeth, and people see through it. And that's not my MO. I'd rather trip and fall on my face and get up and say, I'm okay, and this is me, than be the guy that slides into the picture. Although sliding into a picture might be fun as well. I might make a note of that. I might slide into the video view one coming up soon. But
and actually, you know what? I'll tell you later. There's an app I saw today that will actually do it on your phone to help you slide into a background.
Okay, there you go. I got to get that.
It's pretty cool. So, okay. So, you know, I have all types of people on this broadcast, as you know. And one of the things I ask sometimes, but I haven't asked in a while, is people like admire you and they see what you're doing and they say, oh, he's a great agent. And, you know, I love his stuff on social media. But here's a question that I don't know if you ever get. What do you think you need to improve upon to do better in your business?
Well, I need to improve on how many hours there are in a day. So I'm working on that. But it's continuous learning. I mean, we are at the phase of what potentially could be a real estate revolution in terms of technology interventions here. And when they come out, what I will continue to try and improve myself on is being able to incorporate that to better serve my client. It's really being willing to not believe that you know everything. And I certainly don't. I learn from everybody on a daily basis. I try to keep eyes and ears open and watch people that are doing things well and learn from mistakes that are made either from myself or other people that I'm working with and try not to do them. So it's for me, it's more about ongoing striving for excellence and to provide the most amount of value that you can. And you need to be able to listen to podcasts, webinars, interviews, etc., so that you cannot miss an opportunity that might be something of value that you can incorporate to one of your clients.
Thanks so much for answering that question, because I didn't tell you I was going to ask you that question. And you know, some people think, you know, they don't need to improve, but you know what you said was really telling for any agent listening to this, and anyone in sales, or anyone for that matter. We're always learning. We always have to learn. Stay on the cutting edge. It's one thing that I've always done. So if anybody has any questions out there, we've got Tanya, Jay, we've got Sean, Joanne's on the broadcast, and thank you all for showing up. And there'll be a lot of people that will watch this after we finish. But I wanted to ask you one more really difficult question.
Oh, great.
And it's about the Malamars.
Oh, the Malamars. Yeah.
It's about the Malamars. You know, I've seen them, and, you know, it's like I see them behind you. Just like for me, you're looking at my set here, which is my video set, and I've got my saying back here for the week. And so you got to talk to us about the Malamars, man.
Well, Malamars sort of took a life of its own with me. And in England, where I am from, we have a version of a Malamar. And for the 30 years that I've been in this country, I hadn't really been exposed to Malamars. but for some reason, a couple of years ago, somebody bought me a box of them. And of course, it brought back all my childhood memories of the version that I had in England. And I became largely obsessed with hoarding as many packets of Mallomars as I possibly could. And now I get them in the mail. In fact, I even last week got a nice package in the mail from a friend of mine. And guess what was inside? Because they associate with these fabulous delights. And there's another thing in there, which I'm not going to show you today because it's going to be on my Facebook page in a week or two. But yeah, so I became rather obsessed with those things. I do ration them, however, because I am trying to get a health-life balance as well. But 2 at a time is not so bad every few days.
So in other words, it's not like people are with Girl Scout cookies, killing a box in minutes?
In days past, it was not so much today. However, given the opportunity, I certainly could. However, now I try to ration them a little bit, but they are my number one choice on a sneaky under the blanket with a flashlight moment. Yes.
That's funny. Sheldon, I want to thank you so much for taking the time. I know you're really busy. As you said, there's not enough hours in a day. Is there anything you'd like to share with anybody as we finish this off?
Really, just to find your lane. I've mentioned it a couple of times, but that is the number one, by far, tactic that you can do to be successful in real estate. Is find what works for you as quickly as possible, and then make it your mission to just make that as incredibly successful as you can be. For me, it's the ability to share myself, my family, my journey, my personality. And I found that through Facebook, and I've put a lot of time and effort into sharing that. So if people want to follow my journey on Facebook, be my guest. I'm happy to do that. I always answer the comments that come on there. And I find that that's a really nice way to share for me. But if that's not your style, don't worry. You just have to find your style. And that's the biggest nugget that I can give everybody is the quicker you can find your lane, the quicker you can start walking towards a big successful journey.
That's great. Thanks. I know you just said it, but if anyone wants to get in touch with you, because it's important for me to have anybody that comes on here to promote themselves as well, because they're spending the time and I like them to get something out of it as well. How do people get in touch with you if they want to ask you questions or hire you? And I know other real estate agents on this are going to say, Dave, why did you say that? I don't care. The guy's great at what he does.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. You can certainly always find me on Facebook or Instagram. You can always call my cell phone, 201-481-2891. You can email me. I'm very easy to reach. I'm fast responding and always happy to talk. Even if it's with other agents, I've been fortunate to be asked to do some speaking engagements before. And after those, I'm always happy to talk with some of the agents that say, hey, listen, can I just ask a further question on that? So I'm always here to help. And I appreciate the opportunity to come on with you today because this was fun.
Well, I know you wanted to come on today for a lot of reasons, but I know once I told you that you get one of the real estate skill builder hats, was why you came on.
That was it. That was the deciding factor.
I know. I have to bribe you with something because let's face it. I mean, it's not that popular. But anyway, look, I want to thank everybody for watching. If they didn't watch live, they watched it later. I'm Dave Finale. Remember, I am a real estate skill builder. And today I want you to know that I want you to dare to do what others won't do. Be different. And unfortunately, average is the new poor. So remember, when you think about being like everybody else, not that good. Any questions, any help, anything else, feel free to reach out to myself, even Sheldon. I'm glad we'd be happy to answer any questions you have. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you next week. And next week, I believe we have Karen Carr coming on. Karen Carr, if you haven't heard of her, she's a YouTube queen from Savannah, Georgia. So Karen's going to be on with us next week. Sheldon, again, thank you. And
my pleasure.
See you soon. Stay on for a minute.
Take care.
Take care, everybody.